Hi guys, there's another question from section 1.8, number 31. This is section 1.8, number 31. Let me work it for you. There was a student who asked a question about this one. So we have the absolute value. These are called absolute value inequalities, obviously, because there is an absolute value involved and also there is an inequality. That's why they call these absolute value inequalities, okay? So our job is to solve it, which means, so there was a rule, there are two rules for absolute value inequality. One, of course, if you have less, one is for greater than. I'm sure you noticed those rules in the section. Let me see if I can squeeze it right here. Basically, the rule says, if absolute value of x, of course, x could be any expression inside the absolute value, is less than a number a, then the conclusion is negative of that number a, less than the expression inside the absolute value x, and then less than the number a, okay? So this is the rule that we're going to have to use anytime we have less than. There is another rule for greater than. I'm sure you noticed that one. So if this was greater than, we would have to use the other rule. There's only two rules, one for less, one for greater than. So here we have less than, so we're going to apply the rule. The good thing is we're ready to apply it because we have absolute value by itself. Now sometimes you may have a number in front or something plus. Of course, you have to remove all that. So the structure must always be absolute value all by itself on one side and a number on the other side. So this one is ready to go. So your x is always what's inside the absolute value, and the number, of course, is what's on the other side. So right now our x is 1/2 minus x, and our a is 2. So based on this rule, this becomes negative a. So for us, that will be negative 2. Less than x, of course, our x is all that junk inside the absolute value. And then, of course, less than the number a, which in this case, again, is 2. Okay, so if you remember from last section, section 1.7, there were inequality called 3 parts. So now we have a 3 parts inequality. And, of course, to solve it, we have to isolate the x. So now you have an option here to subtract 1/2, to remove the 1/2, and then, of course, remove the negative. Now, if you want to remove that fractions, you can. Of course, in this case, I may suggest that for you just to make your life a little easier. Of course, to remove the 1/2, you're going to multiply by a denominator 2, but don't forget, what you to one part, you got to do it to all parts, okay? So the whole reason behind this step, just to remove the fraction. So, I mean, you can deal with that directly, but if you also want to remove it, you can. So this becomes negative 4. 2 times 1/2, of course, becomes 1, and then 2 times negative x becomes negative 2x, and 2 times 2 is 4. So this is a little bit easier to deal with, so that's the reason why I did that. But again, you did have the option of just subtracting 1/2 from every part. Now we're going to remove the 1, because remember, to solve a 3 parts inequality, you have to have x by itself in the middle. So we're going to remove the 1, so we can begin to isolate the x in the middle. That becomes negative 5. That will be negative 2x, and of course, 3. Okay, so this is where we are. So the last step is to remove the negative 2 in front of the x, which of course we'll do by division, but don't forget you're about to divide by negative. So now you have to flip both your inequality. I'm going to take it upstairs so you can see it better. So now from here, we're going to divide by negative. I'm going to go ahead and flip it as I divide. So negative 5 divided by negative 2. So the less than becomes greater than. Also negative 2x divided by negative 2. And then also 3 divided by negative 2. Okay, so again, we divide by negative 2 to remove the negative 2 in front of the x, but also we flip the inequality symbols because you are dividing by negative. Now the negative cancels the negative, so that becomes 5/2 greater than x, and then greater than negative 3/2. Okay, so there's your solution. Let me write it in interval notation, which is the way they always want to see the final answer. So in interval notation, it will be all numbers that are strictly greater than negative 3/2 and is strictly less than 5/2. Now, because there are no lines, so the endpoints are not included, so it will be parentheses on both sides. So it will be negative 3/2, comma, 5/2. Okay, and there is your solution written in interval notation. Okay, I hope that helps.